indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
The button that shows the picture of the camera on the bottom bar.
Okay, I'd like Dawn to please call the roll.
Mr. De Palma,
Here.
Mr. Renner,
Here.
Mr. Lauer,
Here.
Mr. Mamakis,
Here.
Mr. Marucci,
Here.
Mr. Schmitz,
Here.
Mr. Lenning,
Here.
Mr. Pink,
Here.
Mr. Petty, Mr. Petty, Ms. Shaw,
Here.
Chairwoman Cannon,
Here.
Mr. Sardillo,
Here.
Ms. Sawant,
Here.
Ms. Shapiro,
Here. I am going to actually mute everybody now except for Barbara and our board attorney, only because we're getting this echo. You will have the ability to go and unmute yourself when you are supposed to talk, and I can unmute you too. But just so that there is no echo in the background, I'm going to mute everybody except for Barbara and our board attorney.
Okay, we are here board meeting and we are on Zoom and on television. So this is a new experience for, I think, me at least. We have two applications or two issues today to discuss. The first is the master plan reexamination amendment, which our planner Veena Sawant is going to discuss with us. And the second is a waiver request. Neither one of these issues involve public participation, since there will be no vote taken, but we will invite the public to participate or to, if they have any questions or comments at the end of the meeting. So we will start with the master plan reexamination amendment. Veena?
Yes. Before I begin, I just want to make a couple of announcements. One, we are being televised on OBTV channel 15. We are having some technical issues with Facebook live streaming. So this meeting is not being streamed on Facebook. However, the meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. So I apologize for that. For residents, to be able to participate in the meeting, please use and call. Please use the webinar ID 875-0065-0752, password 10192 to join in via Zoom. The phone numbers are listed on the screen on your TV. All right, I'll begin with the master plan reexamination report. So on November 6th, last year, 2019, Governor Murphy enacted a bill encouraging all local governments to plan for electric vehicle charging infrastructure. What that did is it actually amended the Municipal Land Use Law, Chapter 28, pertaining to preparation, content, and modification of the master plan. It requires that the land use element, the circulation plan, the master plan re-examination report includes language and information related to existing and proposed electric vehicle charging stations on public properties, as well as it encourages electric charging on non-residential, commercial properties, which are next to transit public transport near transit designated areas or along highly traversed roads. So what you see in front of you today is a draft amendment to the master plan re-examination report. The changes are made only to page 19 of the report, and you will see that there is language in there that says that electric vehicle charging stations should be encouraged on municipal properties. Also, it makes recommendation that the township consider adopting an ordinance to encourage electric charging on commercial properties, especially on highly traversed roads. We all know that in Old Bridge, we have Route 9, 18, Route 35. There is bus service along Route 9, which directly connects to New York City. And we have a lot of municipal parking lots along that route, as well as there are a lot of large commercial properties. So by having the language in the master plan, it will enable us to go ahead and create an ordinance and make electric charging as a principal permitted use on municipal properties, as well as when we get development applications. To give you an example, there is an application pending in front of the planning board. And when we had the pre-application meetings, we asked the developer if they would be interested in placing electric charging stations. And they have agreed. However, if we have an ordinance in place when redevelopment of larger properties happen along these highly traversed routes, we will be able to have some language in the ordinance that requires them either to put electric charging stations or to put at least the electric conduit, so that 10 years down the line, what I envision is many of us will be driving electric cars. Today, maybe there are few charging stations, but 10 years down the line, when all of us are driving electric cars, there will be heavy usage of these charging stations. And if there is an electric conduit in the parking lot already, connecting these is easy. NJDP has a program, Pay Dollar to Plug. And we recently received a grant for that so that we could put electric charging on one of our municipal properties. But it is an ongoing process. So if we have another site, we could still apply to DEP for this grant. There is a lot of efforts and there are a lot of initiatives taken to encourage electric charging infrastructure throughout the state. And I think this is something that has been required by the new bill. And that's what you see in front of you. It's language that helps me go ahead and craft an ordinance so that we can start having developers, or even the township can go ahead and place these stations. So that's all. If you have any
Okay, I
questions.
just had one question, which
Sure.
I don't know, I'm not that familiar with electric charging stations, but is there like a time limit as to how long they can, it take, well, I don't know how long it takes to charge a car, and does it depend on the size of the car or whatever. But I was someplace and somebody was saying that people just leave their cars there because they take, you know, quite a bit of time to charge. And I just,
So, Barbara, to answer that question, there are different types of electric charging stations.
oh,
There is EV1, there is EV2, there is EV3. So there are charging stations where you could charge your car in like half an hour or an hour, but there are charging stations wherein you need to plug in for like 6 hours. So it depends on what type of charging station is installed.
oh, okay. So that would depend on the applicant or what the need, you know, the need for the town, it would determine.
So I'm still working on the ordinance, like the draft language, because there's a lot of research involved, especially because this is like a new topic. But what I notice is most of the places have the EV2, which is like the midway between EV1s and EV3s. The EV1s are typically used for residences. So I'm still researching. By the time I come in front of you with a draft ordinance, I will be able to answer those questions much more in detail. Right
Okay.
now, the bill does not ask the municipality to put in a certain type of charging station. All it says is you need to plan for the infrastructure. You need to identify those locations in your master plan, whether it's a land use plan or the circulation plan, or if you're doing your re-examination report.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I just have one, Robert. So like Vina, I know in our last meeting, we discussed this, and, you know, to move this forward, I think it's something that our township needs and we need to put it in. I mean, you look at the surrounding towns, and I said it in the council meeting as well, just in East Brunswick, you go over to the mall and they have superchargers from Tesla. Not that we're going to force people to put those superchargers in, but, you know, and I joked at the last council meeting as well of I'm bringing this up as we looked at a negative price for gas a gallon. But now, you know, as we see now in the market, you know, the gas prices for oil are starting to level out. I think as we start to go forward, more and more of the car companies are beginning to bring out electric cars. I mean, Ford has an electric Mustang. Volvo has said that they will make no combustion engine cars. I think it was 2026 or 2027, something like that. So, you know, I think as we move forward, maybe not in 2 years or 3 years, but as we move forward, we're going to need these. And I definitely think it's something that is definitely worthwhile putting into our master plan, that we have them, because we would much rather at least put in the infrastructure now than to have people then start tearing up parking lots and to put all those conduits in, because then it'll start getting extremely expensive for those landowners.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay, so we're not doing anything official with this right now, Vina, right?
So this was just for discussion purpose. At the next meeting, we will send out the notices to neighboring townships, and you will take a vote at the next meeting, so that then I can refer it to the council for the next meeting as well.
Okay. All right, well, I agree that I think it's a positive thing. I only brought that up because somebody was complaining that somebody had just left their car there and they would leave it there for hours to charge. So there's different, I understand what you're saying about the different types, and then
Right.
at least to get the wiring, and then you can decide the other, you know, at some time later. All right, so then we will move on to the waiver request, which is 09-2020P 764 Texas Road LLC. Block 21002, lot 2, and Mr. Himmelman is here. Did you want to talk?
Yes, thank you, Chairwoman Cannon. Nice to see you, although I'm sure we'd rather see each other in person, but I thank Vina and Nicole and Dawn for orchestrating this meeting, which I know will probably be perfected as we do these going forward. Anyway, nice to see everyone. I hope everyone's healthy and doing fine. Chairwoman Cannon, as you know, I am David Himmel and I represent the applicant. We are here on a waiver application because the application's been declared incomplete. I'm sure you've all seen Vina's memorandum of, I guess it was May 12th. So there are 4 general waiver requests, and we do have our engineer, Mr. Kotawala, who's on the screen with us and at the meeting. He was going to go through those, but just for record keeping purposes. So we've got 4 incomplete, I guess, items regarding waivers. That relates to the water mains and services, sanitary sewer mains and laterals, existing and proposed on-site sanitary disposal systems, and a tree permit and application. Our engineer did provide a detailed memo to staff dated April 30th. It went through his rationale for why we were asking the board to accept those waivers. But I think it will be appropriate just to have Shri go through those so the board is comfortable And if anyone has any questions, and otherwise we can proceed. So Shri, are you able to hear us?
Yes, once. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh.
you need to get sworn in, I believe. So can our attorney please swear you in?
Yes, absolutely. Do you swear this evening that the testimony you're going to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Would you please state your name and spell your last name?
Yeah. My name is Shri, SHRI, last name KOTDAWLA. I'm a professional engineer in state of New Jersey since 1999 and practice land use engineering since last 25 years.
Thank you.
Shri,
Okay,
you just, for the record, can you go through the waivers that the applicants, our clients requesting? And if you could go through your justification and just brief explanation for each item so that
Yeah.
the board
Yeah.
understands the
Yeah.
validity of the request. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, in a brief, I will just tell you what's happening here at the site. They have a single story existing dwelling at the site, about 1,970 square feet. And applicant is converting into an office building, the same amount of square feet. And how we are changing this is by providing some ADA accessibility inside and from outside parking lot to the building. So those are the basically changes we are making. We are not adding any square feet to the building. So henceforth, we are seeking certain variances. The majority was related to utilities. As we know, this house is being served by a septic system. And when I convert a 3-bedroom house into an office building, my septic flow requirement from 500 gallons per day goes to less than 100 gallons per day. So henceforth, we know that the septic impact will be reduced with a new use. So we are seeking a variance in that matter. Same thing with the water usage, that also will go down. So that is the main reason we are asking for those variances, as the new use will not impact as much as it does now. So that was the reasoning. The other thing is landscaping. Our site is all 3 sides. One side we have a Texas road are covered with like a hardwood growth, like it's very mature trees all around, and we don't have any neighborhood. So we do expect there's enough buffer, which will do enough screening to the neighbors. So henceforth, that variance is also requested out of that. The other one is lighting. As we are not making any change, and the applicant will have some safety light on the face of the building, and that will provide adequate lighting on a parking lot itself. So that's another waiver we are requesting. Anything else? I can explain if anything else is needed in this reference.
I think you covered all the waiver requests, correct, Shri?
Yes.
Okay. We don't have anything further unless the board has questions.
okay, well, let me see if Vina, do you want to add anything, Vina?
No, actually, according to me, and I think Shri and I had talked about it last, the lighting was not a waiver request. I had only 3 waivers. That was item 41A, utilities, water mains and services, 41B, sanitary sewer main, and 52, tree permit plan. Actually, the site improvements are roughly 20 square feet, nothing more than that. And so I don't believe that, that triggers any additional information. It was a residence to begin with in the EDO zone where it is not permitted. In fact, by converting it to an office use, this will be a conforming use moving forward. So I am okay with recommending the board to grant these waivers.
I have a question.
Sure.
Currently, you're on septic system, am I correct?
Yes.
And is city water one of your utilities?
Yes.
And could you tell me how far down the, would it be for you to connect into sanitary sewers, or is it not available?
Actually, in fact, I have not done the study of existing sewer line, the profiles, or anything related to it, because what we were thinking is 3-bedroom house generates a 500 gallons per day of sewer flow versus office generates much, because he's expecting about maximum of 3 employees, which generates 45 gallons per day.
Okay, so you're going to stay on septic then?
Yeah, we're going to stay on septic.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay, so Vina, we just accept your recommendation. We don't need, there's no vote to be taken until, we're going to hear the full application next at the June meeting, right?
You would still have to vote on the waiver
okay.
requests. Yes.
Okay. All right. Do I have
Dawn?
a, yes?
Dawn, can you take the roll call?
As soon as I get a first and second.
Oh, yeah. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
I'll
Who
second.
made the- Okay.
Who made the move? Who moved it?
Lennon?
Okay, thank you. Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Mr. Mamakis,
Yes.
Mr. Marucci. Mr. Marucci, Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Pink,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Chairwoman Cannon.
Yes. Okay, so the waiver request has been granted.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I blanked out and I was on mute and I couldn't find how to unmute it, so it's a yes from me.
Okay, thank you.
Vina? Vina?
Yes.
So we'll get a completeness letter, I assume, and then a date for June meeting?
Yes, actually, it's all set. So tomorrow you should be hearing from our office.
Okay,
I will share with you the meeting ID, password, a sample notice that you need to create for this virtual meeting. But you should
Yes.
get all that information from us first thing tomorrow morning.
okay, very good. Thank you so much. And
Hey,
have a
thank
good
you.
night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Good night.
Thank you so
Good
much.
Good night. Right.
Safe.
Right.
Okay, we have a resolution, Dawn, that we need to pass.
Yes, it's for the litigation for RD management to authorize Mr. Sardillo to represent the board.
Okay, so do I have a motion to?
I'll move it.
All right, who is that? Dean?
Mr.
Mr.
Marucci.
Marucci.
Oh, okay, second,
I'll second it.
Mr. Peak. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Renna,
Yes.
Mr. Lauer,
He's muted.
Mr. Lauer,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
we need to pause the meeting. Apparently, I just got a text. The meeting is not being televised. There's some technical issue. So we might have to go over what we did in the last 15 minutes again. They're trying to work on it, and there is a technical issue with Facebook and TV. I just was notified.
But it is being recorded on YouTube, correct?
Well,
It is-
it'll be posted on YouTube.
It will be, yeah, so we need to just hold off.
Right. Even, we don't have any public
lost-
comment.
Right, but till we are televised on TV, we will have to hold off. So just bear with me 2 minutes. Let me call the TV operator. Let me find out what's going on.
Okay, so really
Okay.
completed the
from
meeting
YouTube.
other than asking for public input, and we're not, we can't do that, right?
I have to just finish the roll call on the resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We
you
didn't finish
that.
the voting on the resolution.
Okay, for the
Mr. Mamakis?
resolution.
Yes.
Right. Mr. Marucci?
He's
Yes.
muted.
Mr. Schmitz?
Yes.
Muted.
Yes.
Mr. Lenning?
Yes.
Mr. Pink?
Yes.
Chairwoman Cannon?
Yes. Okay, are we able to ask for if there is any public comment or no?
You should be able
Yes,
Actually,
you need
to,
to ask if-
I was going to ask,
They might still be able to call
Since
in.
it is on YouTube Live right now, yeah, there is, the YouTube Live is going on currently. We will have the ability to do it. So the one thing I would say, the same thing that we would do in council, is that once we open up the public portion, that we wait probably 45 to 60 seconds to see if anybody calls in, just to
Okay.
give them the time for the feed to go, and then another maybe 30 seconds or so, and to ensure that folks do have the opportunity to call in, should they wish to.
right, and I'm actually watching if anybody is calling in. Right now, there is no resident calling in, but let's wait for a minute. No calls yet.
Yeah, and Vina, since I have the YouTube Live feed up, I'll let you know. I'll just start a count. I'll let you know when I officially see us opening up the public portion, and
Okay.
then we can just give it like maybe 60 seconds. And I apologize if it seems a little long. I just want to make sure that we do have that everyone does have the opportunity to call in. So we could actually start the countdown now if you'd like, as I do see it up on YouTube currently.
Yes.
There are no callers.
Yeah, Vina, it's about a 35-second delay. So like probably just give it like maybe another minute. I just want to make sure that folks who have the ability to call in.
Sure.
Very strange talking and then bouncing over and then hearing what I just said. So I just want to make sure that we do, that we're complying with everybody, making sure that everyone does have that opportunity.
Right.
Nina, do you see any calls now?
No, no callers.
Okay, you're about over a minute and a half since we called it, so you can we could probably close it if you'd like.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments or want to say anything before we leave?
Just happy
Okay.
Memorial Day, everybody.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Pink, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Lauer? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Hey,
Opposed?
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
Aye.
All right, see you in June and stay safe. And happy Memorial Day.
Okay, take care, everybody.